Hello everybody, I'm Nora Burrows. Today I want to make a needle book. I've never done this before, but I am in need of a needle book, so that's what we're going to do. I've pulled some of these fabrics. This is going to be part of my cover, and I just kind of pulled some fabrics that I felt were complementary. This one I felt pulled the nose out of that beautiful swan. Some doors here to just kind of add with that delicate feel. Some of the grays. And then I also have some embellishments, some of these beads, lace, other lace, and then ribbon, and this gingham here. Let me think about what I want to do is I have cut a front and back with this kind of thick interfacing here. So I have two of these pieces. These are 6 inches by 4.5 inches. So this will be my front and my back. I want to take some time and see how I want to create my front. So let me think about that and then we'll get started. I've created this piece here, cut out my swan, and then attached these 3/4 inch black strips to the top and bottom. I should have made them a little bit bigger because I think what I want to do is now attach a strip of this to the top and the bottom, and I wanted to center that in the block, but now I don't have enough room for seam allowance when I attach these two pieces together. So I think instead I'll attach it kind of within the seam, kind of close to the seam down here and here. That's the plan for the top. So what I'm going to do is this piece of interfacing, kind of thick-ish interfacing, is sticky on one side. You can see it kind of glistening there. I'm going to turn this piece over and iron it to the back. As you can see, there's a little bit of overlap around the whole thing. I should have left a little bit more overlap, but I think this will be okay. So I'm going to iron this so it's stuck to it, and then I will sew my embellishment through both the cotton and the backing. I've created, my front is complete. I've also cut this strip to be a little bit more than 1 inch wide. And what I'm gonna do now is trim off this side to be nice and straight right along this interfacing here. I'll line my ruler up against the edge of the interfacing and cut. So that'll be nice and straight. I'm going to sew this piece on, right sides together, right along this. I've also attached this door fabric to the interfacing, so this will be the back of my needle book. And I'm going to on the left side here, trim this also right along the edge of the interfacing. I did the wrong side. Dang, crap. Let me think through. I should have cut this side off because my needle book is like this. And I'll have this be in between them. Let me think. Since I kind of messed up this piece here, I'll save this for something else, and I decided to try something a little bit different. I put some Wonder Under on the back of this, and I want to cut out these flowers here and see if I can attach them to whatever fabric I use for the backing. Here is my new backing, which is the same fabric as the front, adding a little bit of theme and variation. I have ironed it to my interfacing, so it's stuck on there. And then I've ironed down these edges just so that I can kind of see the space that I have to work with. Now I put the Wonder Under on the back of the fabric, cut out my shapes, and now I'm gonna make a little tear so that I can peel the Wonder Under off the back. I have, as you can see, put my background onto this wool pressing mat so that I can move this around once I've placed my flowers, I can move this piece around without having to replace everything before I iron them on. So I'm just going to kind of play around here and see aesthetically what is visually the most pleasing. I'll take some time to do that, and then I'll take it over to my iron and I will press these down, and then at that point they'll be stuck onto the background, and then I'll top stitch around the flowers. Here's how I've placed my flowers. As you can see, I cut out some additional pink ones here. All the paper has been peeled off the back, so it's ready to just lay a flat iron on top. You don't want to move the iron around, obviously. Just press it, and then for a good amount of time, don't burn it, and then I'll turn it over, press it again, and then I'll top stitch along. Now I'm just going to lightly top stitch because I think I may go back with some embroidery thread and add some details, but I still need to think about that. I've done a couple things here. First of all, as you can see, I've added my name and the year, and then on the back side I put my last name. And like I said I was going to do, I kind of folded over all of the edges here. So the next step, I'm going to take a glue stick and glue my back side here, and then take my inside fabric and iron it. Now the glue I'm going to use, it's just a regular kids glue. It's nothing special. Once that's ironed on, I will go around and flip my inside seam over and stitch my front and my back together. I'm going to hand stitch this so that it's an invisible stitch, but you could, you could, before you glue it, iron all your seams over, then attach your top and top stitch around. But I'm not going to top stitch. I'm going to invisible stitch. So I'm going to take my glue stick here, and I already did something I'm not supposed to do, which you don't want to get too close to the edge with the glue stick because you want to be able to fold over that seam allowance. Okay. And now I'll give this an iron to really secure the two pieces and sew my seam. My book is almost done. I did end up, so I started to, all across the top here, I hand stitched this shut, and then I got to about here and I was kind of done with that. So I ended up just top stitching. You can see as close to the edge as I could. I just top stitched all the way around. And then, when I got to this part here, I inserted a little bit of rope to both sides so that I can close that. What I need to do next, I have cut 2 pieces of felt to be a little bit smaller than the size of my full book here, like this. I probably could go even a little bit smaller, but this is what I'll do for now. Then I wrote on just a little bit of muslin the different types of needles that I wanted to include here, so that, let's see, what I'm gonna do, first of all, I'll stitch these little pieces on. I'll machine stitch those on, and then I'll put them right in the middle of my book, and I'll stitch right down the middle. So basically I have, 2 different types of needles per page, because really, you can fit a lot of quilting needles here, a lot of embroidery needles. I didn't feel like you needed a different page for each type of needle. And I wanted to, I didn't have anything back here because the needles are going to be 2-sided, as you see with the pins. When you put needles in, you'll see them from both the front and the back. So I have 2 pages labeled, but then I have these 2 pages without labels, so that if I want to add labels or do anything else with these 2 pages, I'll have flexibility there. So last thing, stitch on my labels, stitch down the middle, and then I should be done. And my needle book is done. I think it came out great. My pages. And then the last two are empty. Front, back. Now the other thing that you can do is you could add pockets in the front. So you could put your scissors in there, or your thimble, or your needle threader. You can put one in the back as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. Lots of possibilities. I'll probably trim these so that they're not so long, but I do kind of like that you can just wrap it up, that you don't actually have to tie it in a bow. The other thing you could do is make a little loop with an elastic like this, and then sew a button on the other one, and then you could just loop your loop over the button. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.